to Gourmet virtual tour. If you can hear me, please let me know. Let's check the connection. I hope all of you can see me and can hear me. If not, and also let me know. John, Christine, Eileen, thank you very much for your feedback. We are going to start in a minute. So I'm happy to see some of you already know, and I'm really happy to see that you are joining my tours. Obviously, it will be different. So if it's not your first time with me and it's not your first time this tour, it will be different. As I wrote on Facebook, in our Facebook group, it will be a special tour. It will be a special experience. I'll show you. By the way, the good news for all of you, everyone who knows me, I got a new phone during these days. It's very important. So the video quality will be much better than on my previous tours. So I hope you'll be able to take as many postcards as you can. And why is this tour special? Definitely because Gourmet is the symbol of luxury, but today I can hardly call it as a symbol of luxury. The first time I did this tour, it was a Christmas tree. So they keep changing. Now it may not be like the best view, but I'll show you some other photos of this fountain. Can do like the portrait mode? No. Yeah. Yeah, they're celebrating spring. So we have 10 seconds before we'll start. Julie, I can see your message. I was in Gourmet in 1989. Was nothing like that then. Yes, and Gourmet keeps changing as our history, as everything around the world. And I believe it's more than just a tour. It might sound like big words, but in my opinion, it's definitely like a historical moment to see these big changes in Moscow and to see these big changes in Russia and specifically in Go. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Tanya. I'm a professional tour guide. I've been working as a tour guide for over 6 years. I do all types of tours. I show the highlights of the city, the most beautiful places. I also show hidden gems. I like to talk about Russian history, Russian culture, and Russian mentality. As some of you know, I had to change most of my tours these days because of what's happening in the world. And I didn't think in the beginning that it would be possible for me to do this tour, to show you Gourmet. Because Gourmet is the symbol of luxury, it's one of the most beautiful shopping malls. It's one of the most beautiful malls in the world. But today, with most of the luxury brands leaving Russia, it's definitely different from what it was on my previous tour or from what it was just a few weeks ago. So today we will be able to see something new for all of us. And I will talk about the history of this place, the architecture of Gourmet. I will talk about Gourmet in Soviet times. I'll show you some interesting places inside Gourmet, like a Soviet canteen, the historical toilet. I'll talk about the lager. And when we will go downstairs, I will show you the brands, the shops, the stores that are already closed. So that's why I'm saying it will be very different from my previous tours. So thank you very much for joining me today, and thank you for participating in this tour. So let's start with the name. Gourmet is the abbreviation. It's GUM. And often my tourists used to say GUM. No, it's not GUM in Russian, it's GUM. In some other languages, it's also written as GUM. So the meaning behind it, GUM, the state universal store. But today it's no longer state. It belongs to the company Bosco. Bosco is the main shareholder of Gourmet, so that's why we will see Bosco all around. The owner of Bosco is Mikhail Kusnerovich, who is one of the richest men in Russia. So that's why we will see all around. Bosco is a company that exists for 30 years. in Russia, and they were also the ones who created the suits for the Olympic team. Let's continue. I'm on the third floor, uh, and today we are going to see all all three floors. So I'm at the upper floor, and we will go through all of them. So you will be able to see everything on the way. So here is just a small cafeteria. Everything inspired by Soviet style, by Soviet times. So if you can hear music, it's about the music, it's about the signs, and it's about the canteen and the grocery store. So I'm walking towards the canteen, and it looks like any other canteen in the Soviet Union. But on the way, let me tell you about the history of the place and its architecture. So GUM was founded in 1893, and the architect of this place is Alexander Pomerantsev. At that time, he wasn't a famous architect, so he was selected from many other talented architects to construct GUM. Where are we, by the way? So for those of you who don't know, we are right in the city center. We are right at the heart of Moscow, Red Square. Why is this place was chosen? Because for centuries, for many years, Red Square was a trading place. And one of the names of Red Square was the market. So before it became Red Square, it was actually called the market. So it makes sense why it was decided proper trading rows. So if it's frozen, you can just update the page. The architecture, it represents a Russian style, but to be exact, neo-Russian style. It's a very beautiful building, and it was built during the period of Alexander the Third. And during the period of Alexander the Third, there was a big upheaval of everything Russian, of the true Russianness. And if you took Red Square tour with me or with my colleague, probably you've seen other buildings that represent this style, like the historical museum, similar architecture. One of the biggest elements are arches. So here we have many arches. It's neo-Russian style. So that's why I really like it. Which year? 1893. I will show it again with the logo. So then you can take a postcard and you will not forget it. Let's move forward. And I believe you already noticed this beautiful roof, this beautiful rooftop. So this rooftop was also a big innovation at that time, and it was created by the engineer Shukhov. What it was so special about it? It's special because it looks really light. Indeed, uh, they used over 800,000 kilograms of metal straight up. So I can sit down and you can see the roof. I hope it's fine. Yes, John, GUM is much quieter these days, and I will talk about it when we will go to the ground floor. That's where we will see the main luxury brands, the main stores. Now I'm at the third floor, and normally the cheapest places, the cheapest stores are on the third floor. Yes, Mikhail wrote 1890, 1893. Yes, so it was founded in 1893 and it was built only in 3 years, which is absolutely incredible. And the project had to be created only in 3 months. So the architect only had 3 months for the project. And as you can see, Russian czars, and in Russia, Russian czars really like this ambitious plans, really like this big plans. So that's absolutely incredible to think of the architecture and how it was founded. Of course, it might remind you some other passages, some other malls, some other galleries in Europe. There were similar passages in France, in Paris, and that's from where it came from. Sort of like shopping streets covered with glass. And one of the closest examples that definitely also became the inspiration for Gourmet was Galleria Vittoria in Milan. So I'm showing you. Uh, it was built in 1877. And what is the big difference that we can see? Only one floor compared to Gourmet. Hi, Ruth. I'm happy to see you on my tour. So as I said, at the end of this floor, we have the canteen. And it's not just any canteen. As you can see, it's number 57. It was pretty common in the Soviet times to name places like canteen number one, beauty salon number two. So all around, everything was like super simple and easy. Usually, this canteen is really, really crowded. Now it's 9 p.m. It's Friday and it's empty, as many other places these days. I can check the prices. Obviously, everything went up, but it's interesting to see the nostalgia that many people have, because this canteen certainly looks like most of the canteens in the Soviet Union, most of the canteens in my childhood. On the way, I can show you the place for vaccination. So that was the place for vaccination. Right now, we no longer have any COVID restrictions. I will not tell you my opinion about it or any comments. I think you can also understand things on your own. But all of the COVID restrictions were released just a few days ago. So here you can take a postcard of the name. It's written Stolove in Russian canteen number 57. Hanili, thank you very much for the tip. I'm really happy to see your support. As most of you know, these days Russian tour guides are not able to receive tips, but Hey Go and I personally, we are doing everything we can to find a solution for Russian tour guides. So I believe that we will be able to receive all of your donations. What time does it close at night, Gail? It will close at 10. So it opens at 10 a.m. and it closes at 10 p.m. So now I'm doing like the latest tour possible, so more people can join me. This place looks like a cafeteria, like many cafeterias in the Soviet times. And that was actually one of my favorite things about Moscow, because you can see many places are open like 24/7, or they work till 10 p.m., till 11 p.m., as to compared to like Italy, where I was a few months ago. Most of the places were closing at 8 and 9. So here is the sign also of this canteen. It's not the original one. It was founded in 2007. Oh, you can also see my face. I'm saying hi. 2007. But again, as I said, today many people have nostalgia, and it's not the only place that looks like a Soviet canteen. And also there, we also have some restaurants that look like Soviet apartments, and there are different types of Soviet apartments. It definitely shows you that people like to think of these good old times. And when we say these good old times and what became the inspiration behind it, it's mainly Khrushchev times. It's mainly like the 60s. That was the period of the thaw. And many things happened during these times. So there was even a fashion show inside Gourmet. So to imagine, like even these days, like we can see that all of this luxury, all of these big brands are leaving Russia. In the Soviet times, to imagine that a big brand would make a runway show was absolutely impossible. But that was the time when Russia was kind of like opening up after Stalin's death. So it wasn't the way for Dior, to make money, to get customers, but it was also kind of the way to show French fashion. And the photos are absolutely incredible, in my opinion, and absolutely interesting. So the show was in 1959. It wasn't brought also to Russia by Dior himself. It was brought by Yves Saint Laurent, who at that time worked for Dior. So just look at the faces of the people. I think it's just really interesting. Something, this fashion, definitely, everything was completely different from everything they had in the Soviet times. And there is another picture. So I'll go downstairs. Let's go to the second floor. I hope we had enough time in here. So, as many other places in Soviet times, GUM was nationalized after the revolution. And when I say the revolution, I mean 1917. A lot of things changed in the country. And often I say there was the history before and after the Soviet Union. So GUM was closed. And believe it or not, but in 1932, even the body of Stalin's wife was displayed in GUM. And many people wrote in their memoirs that that was the first time when they saw Stalin crying. So I'll take stairs, we'll go downstairs. Yeah, we had this, in my opinion, and that's just my opinion, this weird tradition to expose dead bodies of, Soviet leaders. And that was also, but GUM was closed and it was reopened and it became a mall again only after Stalin's death. And also after the death of Lavrenti Beria, just the next day, it reopened. And, there were many rumors about it. Who was Lavrenti Beria? If you don't know, he was the head of KGB. So definitely he was a serious man, and he had offices in many places, and KGB had offices in many places. So one of his offices was in GUM, and during Stalin's times, GUM was also used for different departments. That was the time of the Ministry of Provision, the Ministry of Heavy Industry, and believe it or not, but it was even planned to demolish Stalin. There are several stories about it. So many agree that it was planned to demolish GUM at least twice under Stalin and twice under Brezhnev. Can you believe such a beautiful building? Today, it's part of UNESCO heritage, along with the Red Square and the Kremlin. But back then, it was absolutely impossible to think of GUM at Red Square for many communists. Why? Because it's a symbol of capitalism. So Suslov, who was like this true communist, during Brezhnev's times, he said, no, we have to demolish GUM because it's right on the opposite side of the mausoleum, of the Lenin's mausoleum, the symbol of communism. And it was already decided. But the true story is that Brezhnev's wife and daughter, they learned about it and they asked him not to demolish GUM because they had a nice place for dresses. So here is the story how we saved GUM. I want to show you more things that remind you all about nostalgia. So there are showcases that were created by stores and also by the canteen, and also the canteen itself has different departments. So here's the first one. This section of the canteen is called blini. In Russian, blini, it's like crepes. And you can see some things that represent traditional Russian food. Pies were big for centuries. Something to drink, of course. Isn't it a good size of vodka? Yeah, it is. It is. I also have a food tour. Hopefully, things will get better, and I will be able to do a food tour in the near future. This section represents Central Asia, and we have many migrants coming from Central Asia, like Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan. So this section is for them. They were in Gourmet in the 80s, and the only thing we could find to buy was one size of brown shoes. Yes, Margaret. So as I said, with Dior Shore, it was absolutely impossible, and definitely there were no foreign brands. It was completely different from what we can see today. Goom went through big transformations back in 2007 when they also got this nostalgia, these beautiful signs. In the 90s, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, it was kind of chaotic. I can find you a picture from 1993 when they were celebrating 100 years anniversary of GUM. But in Soviet times, people actually didn't have like places to buy good foreign brands. And now we also have jokes about it that maybe the magazine, the store called The Birch will come back. And also, like, you can find posts that Goom will be renamed to Birch because Birch was actually the symbol. That was the store where you could buy these luxury brands. And how could you get into this store at the Birch? You actually need like a special permission. Not everyone could get inside the Birch. So now I'm showing you the logo of the place, and you can see the name in Russian. It's written GUM. As I said, today it's the main universal store, and on the right side it's written on Red Square, and we can see the year 1893. So what is also special about GUM, that this logo, was created by one of the best sculptors, but one of the best avant-garde artists, Alexander Rodchenko, and it was created in the 20s. So they decided to keep the original logo, which is, in my opinion, is absolutely fantastic. I also think that Rodchenko, along with Mayakovsky, who was a Russian poet, and they both created posters for GUM. Here are some to see. This is a poster, and this was one of the most famous posters created by Alexander Rodchenko with Lilia Break. Maybe you've seen this image somewhere. So it was created by the same man who designed this logo. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and if you like art, you can learn more about it. For many years, GUM was also the place of many exhibitions and actually runway shows. So here we can see the festival Cherry Forest, and it's an annual festival where many students decorate the benches. So all around we can see benches in various designs, in various styles. Normally, I really liked coming to GUM. Normally, I really like coming to GUM because they always had exhibitions. And the first time I did this tour, we had the exhibition of Christmas trees. So it was absolutely fantastic, absolutely beautiful to see all around every special Christmas tree decorated in its own style. Amy, yeah, this is a Russian pronunciation. Gum, well, I think this place is too fancy to be a gum, don't you think? So let's go to the ground floor where I will tell you more about the place, and that's where actually we will see all of the biggest changes. And also I'm on the way to the secret section. Why is it the secret section? As you know, there was nothing during the Soviet times, and basically, depending on the periods. So in the 80s, there was also the time of the deficit of goods. So you could come to a store, and normally there would be nothing. I can show you one of the pictures. And actually, these days, um, you can go to stores and you can also find empty shelves. That's something that I talk about on everyday life in Moscow tour, but it's also quite interesting. So, this is a photo from the 80s. But imagine that you are a rich person and you can, you don't want to dress the same. Yeah, we say everyone is equal, but some people are more equal than others. So at this place where now we have the gastronome number one was the secret section for the elite. So they could come anytime they wanted and buy everything they wanted. Um, so to you had to be a big party member, you had to be a wife of a cosmonaut, and also not all of them. So it was like a very, very VIP access. It's the same as the Swedish pronunciation. Yes, Shoshana, as I said, in some language, so I also speak French, and in French it's written like goum. So it's clear that it's pronounced as goum. So different without Christmas trees. Lee, yeah, if you joined this tour during the Christmas, yeah, during the Christmas, actually it was not during the Christmas time, but after, yeah, it is different. I think it's always beautiful. Now, I don't think they have any exhibitions, but of course, we all understand why. Uh, I still have pictures to show you how this place looks like during New Year and Christmas holidays. For us, New Year is the number one holiday because in the Soviet times there was like no religion, and they had many photo exhibitions, retro cars, and one of my favorite ones was about Soviet fashion. So it was something interesting to learn, and it was organized by one of the best fashion experts. He's a historian. He's a very smart man who speaks several languages. And you can see there was also the exhibition about Soviet fashion. And this is a poster that I showed you, Rochenkov. So this is Russian avant-garde, and many designers around the world were inspired by the avant-garde. And one of the most interesting exhibitions is called Red Line. So it's basically like the modern art exhibition. It was the annual exhibition. Everything, by the way, is free to join. So Red Line exhibition uh, showed the works of modern Russian artists. Julie, I remember the Berezka shops. Yeah, Berezka, that's what I said, the birch. It's translated as the birch. And the birch is actually the number one tree in Russia. And when some people say, like, I miss Russia, we often say, I miss the birch. I will just adjust the, the picture, and so it will be better. Berezka shops having a better stock and being far easy to use. And so, yeah, but Berezka shops, even Berezka shops, they were not affordable to everyone. And I have a book actually about Berezka. So now I'm like considering organizing some other tours, talking about things that could help people to make some parallels, to understand Russian culture, Russian history, to understand why some of the things are happening these days. So, but no, my dad, he told me I've never even been to Berezka. Like you couldn't buy. Of course, and people didn't even have like dollars and the currency to buy it. So it is very interesting that, most of the things were not available to ordinary people, but it could be available. But one of the things that was available and one of the symbols, uh, for hard currency only when I was there. Yeah, it was. And to get it, like, again, you needed, some special access, like only for special people. It wasn't for everyone. So, but one of the things that GUM is also very well known for is this ice cream. What is so special about this ice cream? And it's all around the place because GUM claims it's the same recipe as it was in Soviet times. And many Russians say it's the only thing that still tastes like the Soviet Union. What is so special about it? Well, I can say it's really creamy. So it does taste like, this good old times. Well, yeah, I'm trying not to show any people on my tours. But again, today it's kind of easy because the mall is empty. Uh, the price is 100 rubles. It's still 100 rubles. So it's less than a dollar. It was more than a dollar, but yeah. Yes, Diana, it was Sharon. Thank you very much for the donation, and also Alina. So now, as I said, this place is for luxury brands, and we had a joke that we had several jokes about it. So one of them was more people work in the place than actually people who shop in here, because many rich Russians preferred to buy luxury brands, luxury clothes abroad. So today, most of the shops on the first floor are closed. So we will go through them. This is Dior. I think for many of you, it can be interesting to see what is closed, what is open. From my observation, the ones that are open are mainly Italian brands and different segments of Italian brands. The only Italian brand that I know was definitely closed is Prada. But luxury brands were among the first to leave Russia. So now, Zara left, like all of this, H&M left Russia. So all of the foreign brands are leaving Russia. Even the ones that didn't want to leave Russia, like Uniqlo, the Japanese brand, they still have to. Like they also say we are under this pressure that we have no other thing to do. By the way, you can see that everyone is eating this ice cream. I don't know if you've noticed it, but even when I do tours, like in winter, even when it's like minus 30, everyone is eating this ice cream. So it is a special one. And what is crazy, like personally, I cannot understand how you can eat this ice cream when it's minus 30. By the way, today it's not warm. It's like, it's colder than winter in many countries. So it's plus 3 degrees Celsius. Yeah, everyone is eating ice. But I think one of the reasons why I'm also doing this tour these days, because I don't know if Gourmet will exist the way it exists these days. So I think before on my previous tours, I had many questions on how this place can be in the city center, how can they afford it? So my answer was that, we have the highest number of billionaires in the world, 83, but it was before COVID. Now, you don't know. You don't know. So during this situation, and I have to say situation, because in Russia, if you read things about Russia and how things can be named in Russia, it's different from the media all around the world. So, so now, yes, luxury brands. And I read newspapers, I read articles from the British media, American media, and there were many comments, there were many interviews where people were saying that luxury brands have to leave Russia, and they're leaving Russia because they're targeting all of these Russian oligarchs, and they have to be the target. Let me just read one of the comments. We only want to target those products that will be luxury goods, so that we do not hit the ordinary Russian that wants to purchase home appliances or other cars which are of less value. Now, I mean, they were the first. Now, as I said, everyone is leaving Russia. They have a big list. I mean, I cannot even name all of the brands. Chanel itself already left Russia, and there is a Chanel store that left. Now we have the cosmetics brand, but even with the cosmetics like Estee Lauder left. I don't know for sure why people are eating ice cream. I mean, they are always eating this ice cream in here. But now I have a feeling again that it's also one of the last moments where you can get it for less than a dollar. And these days, many Russians read a lot about psychology. They they're trying to find a solution for what you can do in such difficult times. And many say, like, do things that you enjoy. So definitely this ice cream is, I have to restart the gimbal. But you can try to take this picture, the postcard. I hope it's very beautiful. So Bosco company. Bosco is translated like this cherry garden. And as I told you, we have these strong connections with Italy. So it has something to do with Italy. It's absolutely beautiful. So I'll restart the gimbal. Sorry for that. So you can see that this ice cream is everywhere. It's all around the place. Yeah, it is a very nice design. Let me see your comments. John, yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. I hope I will be able also to do more tours to show you more because it's an incredible place and it's definitely one of the most beautiful shopping malls in the world. People compared it to many malls around the world. Some told me that it's definitely the number one place, but it's worth seeing it. Second blow after coronavirus. They are if you close the stores, the employees, exactly, Elizabeth, exactly. That's I actually absolutely agree with you. And I had a question whether I'm able to get the donations, I'm able to get the tips. So at the moment, we are finding the solution, and I hope we will find that one. As I said, not only the company is very supportive and everyone in the community, but I'm actually really happy to see that most of my colleagues are really supportive. They were reaching me out. They were all trying to help. So I believe we will find the solution, but it's also just one of the examples like how ordinary people are not targeted. And in targeting me, like someone like me, someone like a tour guide who's not able to access tips, it also targets people who can see, who watch these shows. Olympics are going to be a problem. Yes, nice flower design is the flowers highway. So the for is in terms of flowers, they're celebrating spring. And this place, the fountain, is always different. It's always beautifully decorated. So I'll just show you some of the pictures so you can see how it looks like during some times. One of the most beautiful ones, of course, is like New Year and Christmas. It's absolutely spectacular. They decorated as a Christmas tree, and I showed you on the pictures. But again, depending on the season, sometimes it's like full of pumpkins, full of watermelons. So here is the harvest, and you can see they're also celebrating it. They were celebrating it. Yeah, Margaret, I agree with you. It is a very beautiful place. It is. So that was during the World Cup, and yeah, I mean, it was one of the best moments in the lives of many Russians. We were so excited, and many tourists had low expectations before they were coming, and then it's definitely helped the good side of Russia to many people. How beautiful Moscow! I mean, I'm a tour guide in Moscow. How beautiful Moscow is! How many actually nice and great people you also have in this place. So this one is full of watermelons. I love watermelons, so it's one of my favorite fountains. And one more pumpkin. So this one we have for Halloween. Halloween. And yeah, I'm happy you enjoyed. Julie, thank you very much also for the donation. So let's go through the place. As I promised, I will show you the historical toilet. And on the way, we can see more stores and we can see more signs of nostalgia. So this was our answer to soda, to Pepsi and cola. Cola already left Russia. So, you know, a lot of things, they kind of like make sense. But one of the outcomes that people want to have now, like trying, you know, to find the positive signs that there will be more Russian brands, hopefully. One of my favorite restaurants is Pushkin. Pushkin is one of the greatest Russian writer. Maybe some of you know I also do tours about literature where I talk about Pushkin. So Cafe Pushkin was one of the best, well, it still is, yeah, it's the best in the city. It's not the original Pushkin. It's the one in Gourmet, actually in France. There's also Cafe Pushkin. So I like Pushkin. Yeah, it was one of my favorite, and everything about Pushkin was absolutely exquisite. It was just superb in all the ways. There's still the caviar bar, Beluga. By the way, let me show you one of the most expensive vodka brands. When I started working as a tour guide, when I saw this bottle, the price of it was $10,000. They didn't change the price, so it's still a lot. Beluga, so it is considered as one of the best vodka brands in Russia. So it's 500 uh, 583,000 rubles. So now it's like 400 $4,000, I believe. Yeah, before 3 weeks ago it was $8,000. Still a lot. Why is it so expensive? It's because of the bottle and not the vodka. Vodka normally is like $30-40 maximum, $20-30 maximum. Julie is asking if I'm doing more Russian literature tours. I will, yeah. I definitely want, and as I said, I want to find a solution with the Hego, so it will be easier for me to add more tours. But actually, for those of you who are interested in Russian immigration, these days I'm also thinking about creating tours about big names, big Russian immigrants, for various reasons. I think it's very important to see how many great Russians are in the world and what was the impact. And because often, and it's not only around the world, but often, even in Russia, we don't know that much about immigrants. We don't know that, for instance, Chanel that we just passed by, the perfumes of Chanel were created by a Russian immigrant. He was a Jewish Russian immigrant. He created Chanel number 5, and then he also created some other perfumes. There are so many great men, and even Google that everyone in the world uses was also created by Sergey Brin, who is from Moscow. So I'm thinking about doing a series about these amazing Russian people. So today it is a lot about fashion, obviously. So Furler is close up. I'll let you know. I'll do a post about everything, but I definitely want to do one about fashion, because there is actually a big impact of Russians in fashion, including Hollywood. So I hope it will be very interesting. And this is something that I can easily do. It's something that I don't have to worry whether I have to cancel or not. I can do it from home. Yeah, thank you very much for your support. I'm happy to see that you like the topic. Yeah, all of the shops that we have in here are closed. From what I read in the news, Zoom specifically, the other store with luxury, the other mall with luxury brands was absolutely crowded in the last days, especially Louis Vuitton. People were just buying bags, everything, Prada, just trying to invest their money and trying to buy, because, well, now, it won't be possible. Even iPhone, even Apple, left Russia, and iPhone already announced that they're not going to release the new phone in Russia. There is panic about everything, John, not only about brands, about everything, and all around the city. I see that we mainly have women, so I'll just share some of the details I can share with you. Again, it's more about everyday life in Moscow tour, but I hope it's still interesting to learn. So if you'll go to supermarkets, normal supermarkets, you won't find anything for women's hygiene. That's about it. Empty shelves. Empty shelves. It does remind a lot of, Soviet times. It is. So I think, yeah, I'll try to do another everyday life tour where I'll talk more about it. So here is the historical toilet, and let me tell you what is so special about it. So when we opened Gourmet, there was just this nice toilet full of marble for gentlemen, like the one you can see on the photo. But then Gourmet was nationalized, as I've already told you, during Soviet times, and this beautiful toilet was turned into a storage, and it was recreated only in 2004. So now it's a toilet and it's a museum. So now the price is 200 rubles. Again, before it was like $3.50. So people were like, oh, it's too expensive. Now it doesn't seem like it is expensive. And you can take a shower. Before everything, it was 1,000 rubles. And I want to show you some pictures from old times so you can see how it was. And I remember that I promised you to show the picture from 1993 so we can also compare it. Here's a picture from 1993 when we were celebrating 100 years. So you can see it was a lot more chaotic. There were no brands, still no brands. They were coming to Russia definitely after the 90s, but the luxury, the symbol of luxury, it was like 20 years ago when the prices on gas and oil increased. Yeah, of course, I agree that now it's much better, cleaner. Hugo Boss is closed, well, as all of other places. Let's take last look at Gourmet, and then I will go outside. I hope I will be able to show you better quality of panic buyers. There is a panic in terms of everything. So for like MacBook, I checked the prices today because I'm still hoping to buy a new laptop. And MacBook Pro, the prices start from, oh my God, 350,000 rubles. So according to the last exchange rate, the previous exchange rate, like 3 weeks ago, ruble dropped down twice. It would be for a MacBook, let me calculate, six, oh my God, what's happening with me? Yeah, so it will be like 6,000, 6,000. Yeah, 6,000, which is crazy. Um, the closest stores are so intense. So let's take a look at this beautiful street. Yeah, it is expensive, and obviously the salaries will not, like, how can you increase salaries? But specifically gadgets and then luxury brands. And it's not only that, the prices, but also people believe that they will, some people think, we won't be able to have them in the near future. That's why it's important to buy as many as you can. Yeah, I mean, I was checking also flights. So with flights, just to show you, I don't know, today they keep changing, but like for the next day to Tel Aviv, the price were like $4,000 for, tomorrow. I'm showing you Nikolskaya Street. It's one of the most beautiful streets in Moscow. And I'm really actually happy to see this great quality of the phone. So we will take a look at the building from outside. And tomorrow I'll do the Red Square tour in Soviet times. It's different from the original Red Square tour. So I hope we will be able to do this tour and you can see one of the most beautiful squares in the world. So many comments. Let me see. Where the stuff that is close from Russia generally. Yeah, they were mainly from Russia, but everyone, top managers, they were often not Russians, but that's about it. I mean, and I think they still have to pay for, obviously, they still have to pay for rent. It is a very beautiful place, and remember, I told you it represents neo-Russian style. So, what time? If I'm not mistaken, sorry, it's on Sunday at 5 p.m. Moscow time. But you can just go to my Heygo page, or some of you can share this tour. So it will be interesting. Yeah, I'm really happy. So some of you who joined this tour before, who joined my tours before, so speaking about like gadgets and increasing prices, I bought the phone in just in the beginning because I kind of understood that it could be a good investment. I will not go further because there is a police car. So let's just stand here for you to take postcards, and I will be happy to answer your questions if you have any. So it's me. Thank you very much for joining the tour. I hope it was an interesting experience. It was, I believe, different from many other tours. And as I said, it was also about locals' life. It was also about some important historical moments. So I will be more than happy to see you on my tours. If you enjoy this experience, I would be more than happy to see your comments, reviews. Always, I'm always happy to read them. And yeah, Emmy, thank you very much for the tip. If you enjoyed this tour, you can also make a donation. I hope it will go for a good cause in any case, even if I'm not able to get it. But as I said, we are doing everything we can, me, my colleagues, and the company. Thank you. Eileen, thank you very much. Yes, it's a very beautiful building. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, everyone, for the comment. Joylin, thank you for the donation. Christine, thank you for sharing the tour in the group. Ray, thank you, everyone. I'm very, very thankful for all of your support during these times and in general. And despite everything, despite the reason why it may not be easy, and despite the fact that officially now I'm not able to give the donations, but with your support, it's definitely something that inspires me. With your interest in Russian culture in Moscow, I'm able to create more and more tours. So we'll be happy to see you again. As we say in Russia, пока, пока, bye-bye. Stay safe and have a lovely day.